tuning in to the Tom and Joe Auto Show, starring Tom Tharp, ex-moonshiner, and myself, Joe Bucci, hyphenated specialist. We're going to talk your socks off about everything cool in the automotive world. Welcome, Tom and Joe.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Tom and Joe Auto Show, episode number 16. How are you tonight, Joe?
I'm doing great, Tom. How are you doing?
Doing well, sir. Thank you very much. And, up top, you heard Joe bringing us in. Got our titles, as always. And I'm an ex-moonshiner. Now, that's especially... Should I even talk about that?
I don't know. That's like...
It's sort of illegal.
It used to be a secretive thing, but like they have TV shows about that now, Tom.
I know, and I'm in the sweet spot here in East Tennessee for some moonshining.
Oh yeah, that's what you moved there for.
Yep, it goes on, man. I have seen those shows too, and they are something else. One I particularly like was a guy around here in these parts that sold it out of an RV. He would just drive this RV around. And he would go to all his stills and collect it. Now, this is just, let's call him a friend of mine.
Right, okay.
Definitely not me.
Nameless.
Yeah, it's just some nameless friend. You know how people, when they're talking about themselves, they say, oh, this friend I know, so there's this friend of mine that has an RV that he drives around in and sells moonshine. But, the old White Lightning, we've got, around here, we've got the White Lightning Trail. And that's the old, where they used to move moonshine back in the day, back in the late 1700s.
Oh, I remember it.
Yeah, and this is, I don't know if you've heard the song Rocky Top, Joe. Have you ever heard Tennessee's anthem, Rocky Top?
Yep, I have heard it.
Yeah, we get our corn from a jar. That's what they're talking about in that song. That's good old shine right there.
Wow, I didn't put that together.
And the strangest thing about moonshine is it's now available to buy at liquor stores.
Yeah, I wonder about that. I automatically assume that's not moonshine.
It's not it's not good old, from a still out in the middle of the woods for sure. But it is sort of a version of it,
Right, I get it. I tried one, actually. It was apple pie moonshine.
Yeah.
It was delicious.
Oh, I'm telling you what, you go to a party around here, Christmas party or something, whatever, some kind of get-together, somebody's bringing a jar of real shine.
Nice, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's just a regular old jar with usually some plastic, like some Reynolds wrap or something over the lid with a rubber band around it, and somebody's bringing some shine to the party. But
nice. So
now, yours, I tell you, it's twisting my brain. Your title here, Joe.
Yeah, it's
you're a hyphenated specialist.
Yeah, some people, might underestimate the importance of having a hyphenated specialist around.
Yeah, I never know when to use it.
Yeah, it's hyphenated -specialist.
Oh my god! See, that's
that's how you spell it. That's all.
Hyphenated. So even that uses a hyphen. See,
Yeah.
Please.
Thank you for calling it a hyphen. It's not a dash.
Oh, right. Common mistake.
It's a hyphen. Yeah, a hyphen. It's a punctuation mark. You use it, if you want to make a two-word adjective like automobile-related.
Yeah, okay. I wouldn't have thought of using it there, but yes.
Yeah, or a compound noun like an add-on or a get-together.
Oh, my goodness, really?
Okay. You use it some prefixes like, for example, preschool. That is hyphenated. You can also use it if you want to imply spelling. Like if you want to spell hyphen, and you're typing it out, H-Y-P- implies spelling. It is not a dash. A dash is for if you were saying there's 15 to 20 patients today, or from 1981 to 1999,
That's not a hyphen.
Not a hyphen. So just get it right along with your, and your, and
semicolons.
two. Semicolons. We can give you a lesson on semicolons next time.
If you know a semicolon expert, I could really use some help in that department too.
All right, Tom. I figure enough about our titles. Let's move on to the real nitty-gritty.
All right, let's do it.
All right, for our first topic here in episode 16, we're going to talk drag strip etiquette. What do you think of that, Tom?
That's a great topic too, especially, unfortunately, if you've been to the drag strip a few times And most of us, I mean, you can do some research. You can just sort of lay back and watch how it operates at the drag strip. But you can always see that guy from a mile away, that never been to the drag strip guy.
Yeah, definitely. They stick out like a sore thumb.
So he comes rolling in, doesn't really know what to do at the gate, as far as paying and getting the wristband, signing the release or whatever. It gets that all wrong. Comes in, parks in the spot of some big dog. So parks right in the big dog spot up front with the trail, with the tractor trailer and the nice truck and trailer. So he parks right in his spot. So he's got to move or whatever, and then wrong staging lane.
Yep.
Rolls up, drives through the water in the burnout box.
Yep. With the radial tires.
Does a burnout. Gets water everywhere on the radial tires. The lights.
Stages with the rear wheels.
All wrong with the lights. You got the starter trying to bring him back, having to roll his window down. Roll your windows up. Now roll them down so I can tell you how to do this. Anyway, This would be bad etiquette. But either we've been there with our first trip or we've seen this guy. Luckily, growing up, I'd been to the drag strip enough times in my life. Just all my family drag race, my uncles and stuff. So I was used to going to the track and just being around the track, spectating. I sort of saw how it operated.
Yeah, that definitely. If you grow up that way, then it's sort of second nature for you, But if it's something new to you, it can be overwhelming for sure. I was definitely nervous the first time I actually drove a car down a drag strip. There was a lot to look out for, but. I'm pretty observant, and I didn't want to look like an idiot. So, I checked it out real good before I started, just driving all over the place and doing crazy stuff. So for any of our listeners that are interested in going to the drag strip and would like to know a little bit about what it's like and some best practices, that's what we're going to talk about right now.
Yeah, that's a great topic. And I haven't been to the drag strip in over a year. Isn't that terrible?
Oh, that's really bad,
Tom.
That's
embarrassing, frankly. But I still find it a intimidating place.
It can be, yeah.
Even it's just my local track. It's just a little local 8th Mile track, privately owned. It's not like there's a television crew filming me on ESPN or something. I mean, it's just me at the local track, but I still find it very intimidating. I mean, there's regulars there who go every single week.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. If you become one of those regulators, mount up, then it definitely you become more comfortable. It's like Cheers, everybody knows your name.
That's true. The folks working the track and everything, and how the lanes work. How when they call you up and the times. You basically have you just know it. If you go all the time, you just have all these things in your head. It's like second nature.
Yeah, definitely. But I think what we should do here is maybe we should go through every step of the way here. If you're going to go to the racetrack, what you should kind of expect from beginning to end.
That sounds great.
How's that sound?
Sounds great, Joe.
All right, well, let's go ahead and talk about arrival to the track. Now, generally, you're going to have a racer entrance, right? And when you pull in that racer entrance, you're going to probably end up in a line. You're going to have to pull up to a registration booth, a ticket booth of some kind to get through the gate. Once you get through the gate, whatever the cost might be at your local drag strip.
Yeah, have your cash. Have cash together.
Yeah, cash. They generally don't take a credit card.
At the gate there.
Yeah, so stop at the ATM on the way. You get through your gate. You pay your fee. At my local track, you tell them at the gate if you're going to be racing, and they'll hand you a tech card. If you're not, you just pull in and you park, hopefully where all the other spectators are parked, not where people with trucks and trailers are parked. If you do have your car, you can park a little closer there to where the racers are, but just be aware of where you're parking. And especially if you have a larger rig with a trailer or that sort of thing, just be aware you're not parking in somebody else's pit area, blocking anybody in.
I'd say,
or anything like that.
I'd say that's very common for those that are going to the track for the first time or going to a new track. The parking situation. I've been parked in.
Yeah.
I've just our little local track. Every time I go, I get parked in.
Yeah, it does happen a lot.
And it's usually folks arriving much later, which is when I always am confused by folks arriving like a couple hours into the test and tune time. I'll never understand that as long as I live. I understand people work and things, and maybe that's as soon as they can get there. But showing up an hour before test and tune's over to make a pass, I don't know.
It's common for sure. I see that a lot here too. Yeah.
I'm an early bird, I guess. I like to show up. I like to be at the gates fairly early. First few in line. It just, I don't know. It just makes it just feels right to do that for me. But
yeah, for me that eliminates a ton of stress.
Exactly. Yes.
Off of the whole situation. To get there early, have plenty of time to unload and get your car prepped.
Yeah. Yes, but you're right. Yeah, especially if you're pulling a trailer. I mean, gosh, that's a whole nother level of preparation and things to be ready for.
Yeah, definitely.
Getting there nice and early.
Some of the tracks are not all paved. They have dirt or grass areas. And if you're pulling a trailer, some trailers, you have your trailer jack on the front or whatever you might need to put down to get your car off cleanly, and ramps and things like that. You might have equipment. You might have to jack your car up to change your tires, when you get to the track. So you got to be aware of where you're parking, and don't just go over to that nice flat paved area because you like it the best, because there might be some other people that have already set up shop there.
Yeah, probably belongs to the big dogs up there, I'd say.
Yeah.
The regulars.
All right. So you get parked, you get your car unloaded, and a lot of the tracks, not necessarily the local track here, which I won't mention today, some of these tracks are pretty serious about their tech inspection when you get there. So you're going to have to go over there and let their officials take a look at your car. And depending at what kind of level you're at, whether you're, if you're breaking into the 13-second barrier, you're going to generally have to wear a helmet.
Long pants.
You may need long pants is a good idea no matter what.
Forget long pants and can't race.
Yep. If you're going faster than 12 flat, if you're in the 11-second range, you're going to probably need a roll bar. So you could call your track, or you could. Most of these tracks are IHRA or NHRA tracks, and you can get a rule book online. Check it out. If you don't have any idea how fast your car might be, just kind of try to take a guess and go out there and see what happens. But
yeah, that's a good tip. I had a gentleman email me or message me on Facebook the other day asking about helmets and which type of helmet I would recommend for his track. And my suggestion was to find out what rule book that they recognize, like you said, IHRA or NHRA, or I don't think there's another, and make sure that whatever helmet you're getting is meets the requirements of that rule book.
Yeah, that's the best thing is if you don't know the answer, find out who sanctions the track and get their rule book, and you'll find the answer.
Yeah, and I've had a helmet checked at Tech before. Not every time, but I've had it happen a couple times.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Some tracks are very, very strict, and I hear a lot of people get upset about that, but I don't understand being upset about your own safety.
Yeah,
that's something I don't understand.
They don't want you wearing that Harbor Freight brand helmet,
I know it. These rules are there for a reason. They've been around a long time. People who know what happens to a vehicle, what it's subject to, running these kind of speeds.
Yeah.
And, people will argue that the newer cars are safer and that sort of thing, but I don't know. I just can't argue with safety. Just same as you talked about last week, Tom, when you're in the shop,
Yeah, I know. As you get older, I think you just become more aware and you appreciate those sort of things more. Safety
so
devices.
That's what it is.
It is. I'm telling you.
I'm just old.
I'm telling. Well, I don't know. It's just like it's old is the wrong word. Mature is what the word I'm looking for.
Mature. Yes. All right. So you go through Tech. You, as long as you have the stuff that you're supposed to have, then Tech won't be an issue, and if you're missing something, those Tech inspectors will make sure you know. So,
yeah, they've got a lot of cars to Tech usually, and they're not up for like chit chat,
Yeah. They generally aren't, but they will definitely tell you why you failed.
Exactly.
So you get your car teched. The tech inspector is going to need your tech card that they've handed you at the gate, or if you had to go to another registration building to get it, they're going to put a number on your car, and then you're going to fill out the rest of your information on that tech card, and you're going to hand it in. From there, you need to open your ears. There are going to be announcements as to what lane you should be in if you're in, if it's a test and tune and they're running street cars or slick tire cars, or if they're running a pro tree or a sportsman tree, there'll be different lanes sometimes. If it's an event, you're going to be in a class. You're going to have to listen for your class being called. And it's sometimes easier said than done to hear.
I found this always to be difficult.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
At our track, you got the country music blaring, and then you got the guy that comes on. Hey, Alfred, you gotta go ahead and open up the signal. Got a lane 1. Go ahead and bring him down there. Lane. I mean, that's your.
Yeah.
And you got the guy next to you blowing out his carb or whatever at 9,000 RPM.
Right. Some guy asking you why you put a Mitsubishi motor in a Plymouth Laser.
I'm telling you what. I'm Mr. Chatterbox at the track. Somebody's always asking me why I did this or why I did that, and I'm explaining it. And I like that part of going, actually. And
sure.
And I always miss what staging lanes what, and yes, you know me too well there, Joe.
Oh, that's it. You get carried away for sure, and right when you think they're not going to call you, that's when they mumble your name. So that's it.
Staging lane. I mean, it's exactly what it sounds like.
It is. Usually, somehow, I find a way to park under the PA speaker that's not working.
Yeah.
All right, so assuming that you hear them call your name, your class, your lane, whatever it is, you go up to the proper staging lane, and, an official down there sooner or later is going to tell you to load up, get in your car, get your safety gear on, get your engine started. They're going to pull you up toward the water box. And
this is
Tom,
when the heart is
you want
pumping.
to take that?
The heart is pumping now.
Oh yeah. The heart is pumping. You're trying to decide if you should turn your AC off. Should you leave your window up if your AC's off, or leave it down and forget about it later? No. Anyway.
Yeah. So
water box, Tom. I got a question for you.
Well, yeah. So it all depends on your vehicle, and if you're not a track veteran, I mean, your first pass, forgo any kind of burnout or anything. I mean, if you got just sort of a regular car and you just want to learn the lights, and my suggestion, I think we've talked about this in a prior podcast, is definitely do an online practice tree or an app or something first before you go to the track.
Yep, that's a good tip for sure.
Yeah, and that's so when you get up to that line, you're not like seeing the tree for the first time. Now, if you don't do that, if you don't have the ability or time or whatever, what I like to do, even using an app and stuff, I still like to walk up to the line and watch a few guys make passes just to see where the little laser beam areas are, where to pull up and stage. And I like to see where that area is and get sort of a visual landmark of where that little spot is, and just watch the lights come down. And for whatever reason, that just sort of takes any sort of nervousness away. When I just watch a couple guys go and watch the lights come down, I'm fine.
Right. Yeah, that will definitely help, because I feel like a lot of people mess that up, the staging lights.
Yeah.
And I think the reason for that is the staging lights are like 20 feet before the tree, and your automatic assumption is that you have to pull up to where the tree is.
Yeah, and I jumped past the water box, so pardon me. Let me come back there real quick.
Okay.
With the water box, so it depends on your vehicle, your drivetrain configuration, front wheel drive, all wheel drive, rear wheel drive, and if your vehicle is set up to do burnouts.
Yes, it does.
I mean, if you're like a normal dude with a regular car with regular street radials, there's a really good chance that a burnout isn't even going to help you in any way.
Yeah, I mean, you might do a little quick, clean the tires off thing, but you don't need to sit there heating your tires up. You're really just ruining them.
Yeah, and if you don't have somebody with you that's been to the track that can sort of guide you through the burnout box, the the track. I don't even. What do you call the guy that stands there at the operator?
I think his name is Jack.
So he's standing there, but he will. If you just give him a little holler there when he calls you up, he'll help you. Park yourself in the box, in the right spot and set up your tires just right so you can do a proper burnout. And
right.
So those guys, they do that all the time and they're happy to help you with that. You can even, so that's like when I raced my Grand National, I had to do, I had drag radials, I had to do a nice burnout, and he was real nice about it. He gave me the old sign there to come up just right and gave me the stop sign. And when I was right at the edge of the water box, and I heated him up, and then he gave me the come on out, when I had a good smoke going. So, he's like your buddy up there, So that's a tool you can use is the burnout helper guy.
Right. So you kind of, in the Grand National, Tom, did you pull around the box and back into it?
Yes.
Okay.
I had wide... and good tip, good point. I had wide radials on the front, so and driving through that box, with those wide, deep radial tires would have definitely, sloshed all kind of water all over the track. I would have basically just been driving through that again. So think about that when you're doing your burnout. Yeah, pulling up and backing into it for a rear-wheel drive car if you don't have like super skinny front tires on it. Or if you have an all-wheel drive car, driving around it completely. Right. And that's very common. The tracks are used to all-wheel drive cars. Now, there might have been a time when there weren't many all-wheel drive cars racing, and that was sort of a weird thing, but it's very commonplace now.
Yeah, and actually more recently, it's become more commonplace for some of these all-wheel drive cars to have slick tires on them.
Oh, sure.
In that case, you're going to pull through that water box and do a burnout.
And you're just going to bite your lip and dump the clutch at 8,000 RPM. I hope it all goes well.
That's it. So yeah, generally, if you're on a radial tire, you're gonna just stay away from the burnout box and really the burnout at all, unless you're just gonna do just a real quick one just to get any pebbles or anything that are on your tires off of there, and then back to staging. Do not pull all the way up to the tree. Take a good look at it, like Tom said, before you go up there. You'll see that the beams are pretty far away from where the tree actually is. And what you need to do there is just, if you look out your window, you can see where the beams are. You can pull your front tires into those beams and be aware that there's two beams. There's a pre-stage and there's a stage. And let's talk real quick about something that sometimes drives me crazy when I'm at an event, and that's courtesy staging.
Yeah, this is a strange topic. It's something I've heard of, but I've never really quite understood. Yeah,
it's like not chewing with your mouth open or, things like that. The idea is that you pre-stage your single yellow bulbs, and you wait for your competitor to also pre-stage. Before fully staging.
Right.
And then at that point, it's fair game.
Yeah. Instead of, then there's that's the good.
Yeah, that's the way you're supposed to do it. You're not supposed.
Yeah.
Do not pull up into the pre-stage, through the pre-stage, and into the stage, and put your car up on the two-step rev limiter and wait for the other guy. Yeah. Because you may be sitting there a long time.
Now, the only trick is, and what I was referring to when I was saying I was confused about, is when you have two dudes that are both sort of like, oh, you go, oh, no, you, So they're
burning down the tree.
So there's that, it just depends on how seasoned your competitor is, or if they're looking to throw you off a little bit. Some of those guys will roll right up into the pre-stage and stage immediately to throw you off a little bit.
Definitely.
Especially if you
understand
if you have a car that needs to spool up a little.
Yeah, definitely. I understand the strategy there, but in my opinion, courtesy staging is the only way.
Yeah.
If you get a pre-stage, wait for the other car to pre-stage. From there, you can play all the games you want.
Yeah.
You can both sit there and not stage, but just keep in mind, if one of you stages, the timer starts.
Yeah, the starter's not going to mess around. Yeah.
Yeah, the starter may start that tree immediately if he feels like it,
Yeah.
So that's just something you got to be aware of. If you stand up there and watch for a little while, you'll see what kind of time you're dealing with, what kind of starter you're dealing with there.
Yep.
If it's not an auto start tree, there's an auto start tree too. So
yeah.
But anyway, just go ahead and get your car staged, pre-staged, wait for your competitor to pre-stage, and then stage. And
here comes the good part.
Here comes the good part, man. You got your, depending on what kind of tree you're at. If you're new at this, you're probably on a sportsman tree. Yep. That's the kind of tree where you're going to see a pair of yellows, a pair of yellows, a pair of yellows, and a pair of greens.
Man. It's getting me excited. I want to go to the track right now.
Yeah. And a little tip. Don't leave on the green.
Yeah, very common mistake for those racing for the first time.
Yeah, you got to leave on somewhere like the last yellow, depending on your car, how long it takes your car from the time you step on the gas or let the clutch out or whatever you're doing to get your car going. Your car takes a certain amount of time to actually start rolling, on top of the fact that the car has to roll a few inches to break out of that beam and start the timer. So there's a few milliseconds going on there, and it takes some practice to figure out exactly when you need to leave, but it's definitely before the green.
Yeah. And I remember my uncle telling me that a long time ago, and I just couldn't wrap my head around why that would be. But once you understand, Joe, you broke it down very well. Once you understand the actual mechanics and the physics of what's happening, it makes perfect sense that you have to leave a little bit before that green.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're dealing with a pro tree, then what you get is all the yellows and then the green.
Oh, man.
And basically,
that's intense.
Yeah, you kind of just got to go as soon as you see any yellow.
Yeah.
If you see yellow, it's time.
Prepare to just pee yourself the first time you line up against that pro tree. I mean, it's just intense. Yeah,
definitely. So here you go. You've now launched your vehicle and you're going full speed.
Look out.
This is the fun part. And you're either just holding the pedal to the metal and keeping the thing straight, or maybe you're banging gears or
first gear, second gear, third gear, second gear. No. No.
Oh no, things you don't want to happen. Yeah. That's one of them. All right, so you're going down the track. Basically, you're just going to drive your car as fast as you can get down the track. And, I mean, we could talk about how to do that, but it definitely depends on your car and a whole bunch of things.
So, Joe, I'm here I go. Okay, launch, first gear. Right. Bang, second. Bang, third. Bang, back down to second. Oh, hear a clunking sound midway down the track. What do I do?
Pull over immediately.
Yeah, exactly.
If you think something is gone wrong, pull over immediately, because chances are you broke something that's full of oil.
I believe I've shot me valves up me tailpipe, Joe. So, yes, pull over. The mistake many folks make, I've broke at the track. It's going to happen to some folks, especially if you're really pushing it. And pull over. The track officials will go insane if you're that guy that just keeps trucking all the way down the track, oiling down, or just doing whatever, leaving parts all the way down. So pull over immediately. If you have a problem, they'll respect you, they'll love you for that, and they'll come out and help you right away. And give you a hand if you need towed off. They'll help you with that. But definitely pull over.
Yes. Real quick, I think I actually talked about this in a previous podcast, but there was a time where I staged and I launched my car, and when I went to shift to second, it was like a severe lack of power.
Oh.
And what I thought it was I thought I blew an intercooler pipe off, because the engine still seemed to run just fine. It went into gear just fine. It drove just fine. It just didn't seem to have any boost.
Huh.
And, I was in my race car, and I don't have any mirrors on it or anything like that, so I'm just watching the other car hit the finish line, and I'm like, I blew an intercooler pipe off, it's no boost, and I cruised to the end of the track, and when I turned off to go down the return road, I looked down the track, and it was just engulfed in white smoke.
Was this at Pink's?
This was at Pink's All Out.
That video's out there, right?
Yeah, that video's on my YouTube channel at Joe Wrenches on YouTube.
Oh man,
and you can see what happened.
To watch. Oh,
yeah.
Because I feel for you. I feel like that could have been me so easily, and that's a tough one.
Yeah, I didn't think. I thought I had a pretty good feel for. If something was leaking out of the bottom of my car, I was pretty sure I would know that, and it wasn't until I turned down that return road that I knew something was wrong. And Man, I got booed.
Oh yeah, this is the famous
thousands of people booing me.
Story. Oh man. Oh, that's such a rough story. Folks,
it turned out that
have you ever been booed by thousands of people? Oh my gosh, I can't say that I have.
Yeah, well, I can, and it wasn't too exciting. And my crew came to pick me up in the trailer, and they got booed.
Oh.
It turned out I broke the turbo shaft, and the turbine wheel actually came out the exhaust pipe. That was the only part I left on the track. The oil that leaked out of the turbine housing all burned and created all that smoke.
Well, it was actually very considerate of you then.
Yeah, it was only like a 10 or 15 minute cleanup, and it was no big deal, but...
the booing,
It looked bad. It looked really bad.
It did. It was a ton of smoke. I'm picturing that video now. I need to go back and rewatch that. It's been a while since I've seen it. You told me the story at the shootout again.
Yeah.
Which is a classic story of getting booed by so many people. And on Pinks, that show was so hugely popular, that whole thing, for many years.
Yeah. And man, I was running bottom tens. I was trying to get that 9-second pass, and I was hoping that was going to be it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
Yeah, that bald guy, the host, Rich Christensen.
Yeah.
Rich Christensen. Yep. That was an awesome show. Anyway, I don't want to get off topic here.
Yeah, so I mean, if something happens, no matter what it is, even if you think you know what it is and you don't think it's a big deal, just pull over and check. The track officials are not going to be upset with you for being cautious.
Exactly.
So just take a look underneath the car, make sure, nothing's leaking, make sure everything looks right. If it does, go ahead and continue the rest of the way down the track,
Yeah.
If not, call all your friends and tell them to help push you off the track.
So no, I'm driving down the track. I've gone through the finish line, and everything. And so now what do I do?
Well, you're going to have to turn off of the racetrack and onto the return road. And how you're going to do that is by not pulling in front of your competitor.
Oh, man. I've had people do that to me before.
Yeah, you need to be aware of that because people will do that. And you also need to try to not do that to other people.
Yeah.
What you need to do is just see if you're in front of the guy you're racing, and the turnoff lanes are on the opposite side of your lane, then you need to just slow down and let that other guy come by you.
Yeah,
Let him turn off, and then you go ahead and turn off. While you're braking and slowing safely to a stop.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're on the same side as the turn lanes, then you can just go ahead and turn whenever you want, being aware that the other guy may not follow the rules.
Right.
So just keep an eye out for that. Come down your return road, and at some point you're gonna find the time slip shack, where you can pick up your time slip from some really crazy dude.
It's always a shack, and there's always a crazy dude in there. You're exactly right.
Yeah. You become friends with that guy, after several years.
Hey, you're running pretty good tonight, huh?
That's the guy. Yep, that's him. So there you go. So you pick up your time slip, you celebrate, or you just throw it on the floor, or whatever you're going to do with it.
Yeah, you think that surely there must be something wrong with their timing equipment. That's usually the first thought after your first pass or so.
Yeah, that is always something wrong with the timing equipment.
But then you can visit the, you can let your car cool down a little bit and visit some of the amenities there. Check out the concession stand.
Yep.
Things of this nature.
Definitely. Yeah, and a couple other quick tips.
The hot lappers, Joe. Have you ever been a hot lapper? Think about that.
I think I've done it once or twice, but as your setup gets more complicated and stuff, you tend to not be able to do that. But
remember the guy in Tampa Bay DSM that used to just hot lap? He had a red 2G.
Yeah, I think his name was James.
James, yeah. Fast back then.
Oh, yeah.
Surprisingly fat guy back then for his setup, which was pretty simple, actually. And would just hot lap it all day.
Yep, all day. He'd make 25 passes.
Got his money's worth, And here's me getting 3 or 4 in a day. This guy was literally running circles around me at the track.
Yes. 3 or 4 is a good day.
It was like an oval track to this guy. He would just go up around and back and up around.
Yeah, basically just would never pit his car. He would go directly from the return road to the staging lane.
And this horrified me. I guess I was used to being at the track for many years, and my uncles always let their cars cool down, and it was an important part of their regimen. And they were all bracket racers, and that cool down time was just
Right.
it was important to how they their accuracy and stuff, and how consistent their cars were. So this sort of hot lapping just horrified me. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. It was working so well for him, though. It's hard to argue with.
Yeah, and again, I'm probably just old, but I feel like popping the hood and taking a quick look is not a bad thing to do between passes.
Oh, sure, yeah.
You know, at the very minimum.
Couldn't agree more.
So, yeah, a couple other quick tips about the drag strip. The drag strip is noisy. If you're going to bring small children, you're going to want to bring hearing protection for them.
Yes.
Another thing, if you have pets,
oh man, so many people
leave
bring
them
dogs.
at home.
Oh, I've seen so many people bring dogs to the track. Why are you doing this?
Yeah, it's just it's definitely a kind of a hostile environment.
Yeah.
To have pets or young children
Yeah.
or that sort of thing there.
Yeah,
So.
I've seen newborn babies at the track, no ear protection, anything.
Oh,
Yep.
that's really, really bad.
Yeah, it is.
And, well, have a good time doing it.
Yeah, having fun is the main thing. That's absolutely right. It's like there's a lot to know, and I mean, it's just like anything. I mean, if you go to an autocross, there's autocross etiquette. There's, no matter
Right.
what. I mean, no matter what you're doing. If you go play bocce at the men's bocce club down the road, I mean, there's etiquette to that. You don't just roll in there with your balls in your hand like, hey, what's up, fellas? I mean, there's etiquette.
Absolutely.
There's etiquette to all these events, so it's the same with
Yep.
drag racing.
Yeah, definitely. Perfect. Well put, Tom. And it's like people still show up, and just basically
just coming in with
act
their
like
bocce
jerks.
balls in their hand, like ready to play.
Yep.
It's like, hey, and slow down there, Tiger. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just try to have more class than that. And etiquette is the word. Etiquette
Yeah.
is what you're talking about here.
Exactly.
All right, Tom. Well, we went on for a good long while there on that topic. So let's go ahead and take a quick break, and we'll come back with some more.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to episode number 16 of the Tom and Joe Auto Show. I hope you enjoyed the break. Coming back in here, I just wanted to quickly mention that if you're interested in seeing the video of me getting booed, you can find that video on my YouTube channel. Search Joe Wrenches, or you can go to joewrenches.com. You can find that there. And if you're interested in keeping up with Tom and what he's doing, v8mazda.com is where you can go for that information.
Yeah, got all the updates on there. Thanks, Joe. And yeah, Joe, you've got some good recent videos that you've been doing, updates and things, and some how-tos and stuff. And I love some of your older videos. Brings back memories. I mean, you built your old race car. You got built a couple race cars on there, and you got videos of him racing. And I love all that stuff.
Oh yeah, back then, not everybody had a decent video camera on their phone or whatever they're taking videos with, so they were hard to come by back when I had my old Talon and my old Laser.
I remember.
There's a couple.
I remember coming to your old. I guess it was your parents' house, and we were parked at a computer, a few of us Tampa Bay DSMers, and we were watching downloaded MPEGs of car videos. That's how you had to do it. This was before YouTube. You just downloaded MPEG videos and stored them on your hard drive, and then or burn them to a CD-ROM or something. And I remember us sitting there at the computer just clicking on each file and watching all these drag race videos and import racing and all this stuff just going on down the line there. And you'd recorded some Tampa Bay DSM passes and stuff and watching those. And it was a lot different before all this social aspect came in and you could easily share all this stuff.
Oh, yeah, and our good buddy Ozzy, he had some sort of 8mm something or other.
Yeah.
And, he took a lot of video for us on that old format, and we were able to, you use a little cable, plug it into your TV, and watch directly from the little camcorder.
He said he messaged me the other day. I hope he's listening right now. He probably is. He's a faithful listener, and he was saying he had some old footage of our old cars that he still has somewhere.
That's great. I would love to see that.
Yeah, the old Mirage I used to have and some other cars. So, oh man, I was like, oh, are you serious? I'd just kill to see that.
Yeah, Ozzy, we'd kill to see that.
I told him, I said, man, put it up on your channel or whatever. That'll be awesome. But
yeah, make it digital.
It's tricky to get that stuff from the old tapes. I have some old tapes too, and I can't do it. I tried, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's a whole different podcast, and it's very complicated.
Yeah. You have to think in the future it's going to be the same way for these formats we use now.
Right.
It'll just be like
definitely
antiquated and JPEG, can't do it. Can't see the JPEG, whatever. Anyway.
No, you got a JPEG to blah, blah, blah converter?
No. Yeah. Old-fashioned deal. Oh, so,
all right.
Getting back into it here, we had a good first segment there, a nice long talk about drag strips and proper etiquette. And, Joe, I wasn't sure if you've seen TX2K is firing up here. We're recording this on the Thursday before.
Right.
And we're just getting started. It's kind of exciting to see all the, I've seen some people taking pictures and posting them of the cars rolling in, whatever, 3,000 horsepower Lamborghini. It's all these cars that are just, I can't even relate to most of these cars, to be honest with you, Joe.
Oh, I know it. They're pretty crazy. Lots of horsepower there. I want to say that English Racing posted something saying they were bringing 13,000 horsepower with them.
I love their updates because they're humble and they're good people. I've talked to them at the shootout. They're all really good people, and they come from. They're way out there.
Yeah. They're definitely willing to travel.
Yeah, they drive the wheels off of their haulers and stuff to go to these events, and they don't just go and show. And they always have an impressive showing, and they've just been at it for a long time. And I've got all the respect in the world for them.
Oh yeah, definitely a good group of guys for sure. And I saw that Giovanni from Real Street Performance and out of Orlando,
nice,
kind of near me. They're up there with at least Giovanni Supra. I'm sure they got some other guys there with them. I haven't seen much for results. I think it was the English Racing GTR that was doing some sort of roll race, like a 60 to, I think he went 197 miles an hour. I saw a quick picture of the slip. It was 7-point-something seconds.
So this is the roll race they do at the big track that they just recently just started last year, the year before, or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. I definitely want to see some more about it.
I'd like to go to this sometime.
Yeah, I would like to go too. I was just going to say, I don't really know that much about what they're doing. I know there's a lot of high-speed stuff going on.
I see. My impression of it is like crazy racing on these highways, like sort of just rolling up next to whatever and racing at night. And then there's these sort of hangouts and dyno events just at a shop somewhere, at these big shops down there. And then there's a drag race, and then there's this roll race at Texas Motor Speedway, I believe. It's just a wild event of all these different types of high horsepower, Lollapalooza style get together. It's really cool. I want to go.
Yeah, it's definitely about horsepower. Drag racing is about, not just horsepower. It's about, suspension setup and weight and things like that, which, do come into effect in what they're doing at TX2K. But it's just really raw horsepower is what people are packing over there.
That's what's fun about it. It's just about raw horsepower. You're exactly right. That's why it's so fun and appealing, and I just get naturally excited when it comes around. It's like I just can't help it. But like I said, it's just most of these guys are just on some other plane of what they're doing. With these 2,000 horsepower or whatever. Like I said, it's some other planet that they're on.
Yeah, it definitely is. So if you're listening to the podcast here, TX2K, the weekend's pretty much over at this point, so maybe do a little Googling, see if you can find some information on TX2K if you want to see some of the good stuff.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, Tom. Well, moving on to our next topic quickly here. I had a quick update on Top Gear, which we spoke about on last week's podcast. To recap quickly, Jeremy Clarkson, the star of that show, had an altercation with his producer, and I believe when we spoke about it last week, the show was just suspended.
Yes. Yeah, they suspended him, and they suspended the show in turn.
Right. So since then, what has happened is, from what the reports are saying, Jeremy Clarkson has actually quit the show. And the show producers have asked co-hosts James May and Richard Hammond if they would film the 3 remaining episodes of this season, and they said no thanks.
Wow.
So yeah, it's become a big deal for sure.
Well, I guess I'm starting to think less that this is a publicity thing, but it's still in the back of my mind. I'm going to be honest, but it would be really surprising if it were. But if this is all on the up and up, I would definitely applaud those gentlemen for sticking by their man. And
yeah, that's cool.
Hard to know the Stig's take on all this since he doesn't really speak or anything, but I'm sure he has some feelings on the matter too.
Yeah, maybe we should try to interview him.
Yeah, I don't know how you communicate with the guy. I really don't.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But, on a related note, I saw a meme, an internet meme, and it was a box of Snickers, and it was addressed to Jeremy Clarkson, and it said, Jeremy, you're not yourself when you're hungry. and I thought that was great.
Oh, that is appropriate, isn't it? Given the story, it's still funny because, I still haven't really heard that that's absolutely the official story yet. That's still sort of,
right.
It's
well, yeah.
We may never know. It's private. It was a private matter.
Yeah, definitely was. So, but that's the latest that I've read up on it. So keep an eye out. There may be more news in the future on that.
Mm-hmm.
So moving along from that, I thought that maybe both of us, Tom, could give a quick update on what it's like to be a grown-up. How do you feel about that?
Oh, that sounds great. Where do we start?
Well, we start with, I would really like to give an interesting update on my race car project, Pro Street Eclipse.
Yeah, how about this part of being an adult? Oh, you want a hobby? No,
that's pretty much it. It's so hard, and I've been trying to push forward on this car. It's important to me. It is like my main hobby, and I've just had life going on. I've been in the middle of refinancing my home, which has taken longer than expected, and hopefully getting that all wrapped up and getting back to working on the Eclipse. But I have ordered some parts for it. I really need to get the bodywork finished, and I want to get the suspension together so I can have a roller. And I have ordered, the car wasn't the nicest car ever to start with, so the rear quarters are pretty rough, and I've decided with the amount of money I'm putting into the car that a few dollars to replace the rear quarters isn't going to hurt anything. I have nice rear quarters on the car, so I've ordered some of those. And I've also ordered a chromoly tubular K-member from Holland Performance. I'd like to thank Trevor over there for that.
Nice.
And, take a bunch of weight off the car, make a little room in the engine bay. So he's working on that for me. He's going to get that sent over pretty soon. And hopefully I can get this thing on the ground and rolling coming up here pretty soon.
Yeah, and that's a tricky spot, when you need body work done and paint work and everything. That's sort of something where you have to hand it off, and that's always a tricky spot.
Yeah, it involves, moving your car from your garage to some other place, Yeah,
you've had a couple tricky steps like that. Your initial, to do this chassis right, you had to have the thing sandblasted, you had it all media blasted and everything, which was the right thing to do, but that's a tricky step, and transporting it and everything, and then transporting it to get the cage done.
That's right.
These are steps that are just tricky and difficult, and but it's to the end result will be well worth it. And I know folks with like my Miata project, they say, geez, why are you starting with such a nice car, this and that. Really, I'm just trying to skip a few steps. Really,
definitely.
because body work is insanely expensive, and for like a nice street car work, where you want everything to match and good job and shiny and all that kind of stuff. It's expensive, and you have to have somebody you trust to do it. So, but the Miata's moving right along as far as updates for me. I'm in the, there's a lot of I'm putting the videos out there, but where I'm at right now is just a lot of staging. There's a lot of tasks, a lot of small tasks going on at the same time. And, this isn't a heavily documented process doing this whole conversion. So, you're trying to decide, okay, if I do this step, well, I have to redo it when I do the next step. So it's that whole, and I think anybody who works on a project car goes through this. You don't want to do rework. It costs you time. It costs you other waste. So just trying to get all this staging down, and I think I'm going all right. But but like you said, being an adult means you have priorities that will definitely take precedent over your hobby. And I'm lucky if I can get an hour or two here and there, and which is a tricky way to work on a big project.
Yeah, definitely. A project like that, you end up with like car project ADD a little bit.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how well you plan it, you're going to facepalm at some point and say, oh, I forgot to do that.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
I've done a fair amount of that lately. And folks have been asking me about the Galant, and the latest on the Galant is it's a great, reliable car, and I would like to leave it that way.
That makes too much sense, Tom.
Yep, I keep a battery tender on it because I don't want to drive it out we've had just salt on the roads all winter long here, and I don't want it to rust away. But I did pick up Mama in it the other day.
Oh yeah, Mama went for a ride in the VR4?
She secretly loves the boost, I can tell.
Oh yeah. You can tell.
Yeah, you can tell. And
that's great.
So that's the latest on the Galant. Just enjoying it in a reliable, fast, fun form. It's actually a pleasant car, but I'm sure I'll ruin that. It's in some way, shape, or form in the future.
No, stay away from it, Tom. Don't do it.
Yeah, that's what the Miata's for. I can go ahead and just go crazy on it, and the Galant will actually be a nice, classic car. That's not too crazy.
Yeah, that's good. It's a nice car for sure. All right, well, moving on to our final topic, which is a listener question.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Yeah, let's see. What does this question say here? This question was submitted by Zach.
Zach, we have a name. Zach,
yes, we have a name this week. He says, first off, he loves the show. He follows both of us on YouTube, and he has a couple questions. He was wondering when Tom was considering rear-wheel drive, or considering the Miata, did a rear-wheel drive 4G63 swap come to mind for the Miata? He's working on a 79 Corolla rear-wheel drive 4G64
nice.
And a Power Glide setup.
That's going to be scary fast.
5 DSMs. He brings up Dave Busher's rear-wheel drive class at the shootout, and let's go ahead and deal with that topic, and then we'll take up his second part of his question.
So, did
here.
a 4G63 powered Miata ever cross my mind? Maybe only for maybe every 10 seconds for 15 years.
Mine too, Tom.
Does that answer your
too.
question, Zach? No. Well, it did cross my mind many times, and but when it stopped crossing my mind is when I busted out the old tape measure, because that engine is too tall.
Oh, yeah.
All you got to do is just bust out the tape measure. And I don't care. You could get a dry sump and the engine would still stick out of the hood. And I'm not talking about like cute stick out of the hood, like where a little, maybe that front little timing cover would stick up. I'm talking about like the whole dang engine sticking up out of the hood by inches. And it's just a much taller engine, and that's why it's in that front wheel drive configuration. that you can get away with that, with the way the engine's placed in those cars. But the way the Miata is with that low hood line, and what the wild thing is when you put those two engines side by side, the Miata engine is just so short and compact compared to the 4G.
Right. It's funny you remind me, Tom, that the cam gears on the 4G63 engine are so huge, and the hood on the DSM is designed with that bump in the hood, and people think that that bump, that's because it's turbocharged. I've heard that a million times.
Yes. I think I might have remember thinking that when I was young.
Yeah. But no, that's to fit the cam gears under there.
Isn't that hilarious? So at some point, some engineer was like to the designer, "You're just going to have to make a bump in the hood because we can't make the engine any smaller, any shorter."
Yeah, it's pretty crazy if you think about it.
And the other hurdle with a 4G rear-wheel drive Miata, say the engine, you didn't mind the engine sticking 8 inches out of the hood. Say you could just get past that. You could see the entire cylinder head. The other part is, if it's a sports car, it's a roadster, you want a good manual transmission. I'm sorry, I've not seen it done well. A sports car-oriented manual transmission 4G63 swap. I just haven't seen it done well, where it was reliable and you could just shift the heck out of it. Now, the route you're going, Zach, you've got to figure it out. The 4G64 and a power glide and a drag setup. Now you're talking, and that's been done and been done well and is reliable, and you'll love that.
Yeah, that's going to be a good setup for sure. That's great. Even Dave Busher on his Evo, he's converted to rear-wheel drive. He's gone with an automatic transmission in that, which was surprising to me. But like you say, there's not really any good options for a manual transmission, so there it is.
Yep. Just the research, the R&D there was never a market for it, so no one did the R&D. I mean, I'm sure there's transmissions you could make it happen, but the thing never came as a native rear-wheel drive engine. So therein lies the problem, really. But with Busher's Evo, I thought that he might go with some sort of 4-speed automatic from GM,
right? A newer one,
some sort of newer something. But I was surprised when it was just a good old turbo 400 in there. Yeah, I was too. So, that's a good reason, Tom. That's a good reason to not put a 4G63 in a Miata. I get that question a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I considered it, but I just, when I was looking at getting a new project, I didn't want a huge project. Of course, that did happen, but I considered it for a minute, and I never even considered that the engine wouldn't actually fit.
Yeah, it's incredibly tall.
All right, well, Zach and I have something in common. Apparently, we are both bearded gearheads. So, kind of high five, secret handshake to you on that, Zach.
Yeah, and Zach asks, I have beard envy. I honestly do. I can't, for listeners, I can't grow a beard. I can't at all.
Yeah, I have a decent beard at this point. I haven't seen a picture of Zach that I can think of, but some beard is better than no beard. Maybe he has a bigger one than me. I don't know. Beard envy. So
show us your beard, Zach. Forget the car. We want to see the beard.
He asks if I ever have nightmares of igniting myself during fabrications.
Nightmares.
And what kind of precautions I take. Well, the funny thing is
you put a swim cap over that part of your face or what?
You know what? The work I've been doing on my current project, I've had this beard. Actually, I've grown this. This is the second time. I grew it about 3 years, and I shaved it and grew it another 3 years. So I'm 6 years in on my second beard here. But I've only been back to working on cars for a little over a year.
Yeah.
And
I never thought about this. I've never thought about this, and this is an interesting point he brings up.
Oh, it is an interesting point. Now, I haven't had to do much, precautionary measures with my beard. With the work I have been doing, it hasn't been that big of a deal. I haven't done any welding myself on the car yet, and I haven't been around any running gear with the beard. But I can tell you,
hung up in the cam gears or something.
Yeah, I have
Holy
a couple
cow.
stories. One about myself is that I used to have long hair, like regular hair, not beard hair. It was down about my shoulders, and I was checking something out. I don't know. I was think maybe I was checking the timing, ignition timing on my laser, and I was leaning over the open cam gears there, man. And I didn't even notice. And I did what I needed to do, and somebody said, "Hey, Joe, you better be careful." And I looked at them, and I was like, What's going on?" And they were like, "Your hair." And I guess my hair was sitting on the cam gears, like getting brushed by the cam gears.
Ooh.
Man, that would have been horrible if those things grabbed a hold of a bunch of hair.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, it's a real thing.
I've heard stories about that with a wedding ring.
Oh yeah, getting it stuck or getting it welded.
Yeah, welded.
Or something,
Welded or getting it stuck in something and pulled. Whew, anything like that.
Yeah. What I can tell you is my good buddy Jeremy over at Fat House Fab. He has a serious beard, and
he's throwing sparks all day long. He
does. Yeah, he's a welder by trade. That's what he does all day, and he ties his beard up into a little bun.
Oh, I see.
At work,
yeah,
so
good call.
He definitely is aware of that.
Yeah, I could see the loose sort of beard fur being a problem with sparks or just moving parts. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to tie it up, just like tie it up with some rubber bands or something.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what he uses as your basic, hair tie for a ponytail.
And that stuff will be collecting all sorts of garage filth too.
Oh yeah. That's a great feeling though. Cleaning all that garbage out of your beard is a really good feeling.
Is it really?
Oh yeah. A nice fresh clean beard is a good thing.
Yeah, I imagine so.
All right, Zach. Well, I hope that answers some of your questions for you. And we're going to close out this podcast right now with some news for our regular listeners and anybody new listening. We've been doing this podcast now, 16 podcasts. It's like 4 months of podcasts.
Yeah,
and
every week. We've been doing it every week.
Oh, every week. And I'm not going to lie, it's difficult when you're trying to mix it in with car projects and everything else you're doing in life, right, Tom?
Yeah, it is. And, I mean, you all know how it is in your day-to-day life. If you have a family and a busy job and other commitments and things you do on the side, to take up extracurricular stuff like this podcast or whatever else, it gets to be a strain. And, Joe and I have been doing our best to bring this to you every week, and we obviously enjoy talking to each other and love doing the podcast. But it's been getting tougher and tougher, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. And what we've decided at this point is that we're just going to go ahead and take a little break from it. We're going to kind of regroup a little bit. We're going to have some discussion on maybe what we can do to improve the podcast, make it more popular, get it out to more people, and consider coming back and doing it some more. But in the meantime, this is the last podcast you're going to hear from the Tom and Joe Auto Show for a little while.
Yeah, and we don't want to disappoint folks that are listening. I'd say we've built a small but loyal crowd of listeners here, and we appreciate that very much. But we hope you understand.
Yeah, so we don't look for next week's episode at this point. We'll still be active on our Facebook page.
We're not
if
dying.
You wanna... No, we're not. You'll still be able to follow what we're doing. Follow me at joewrenches.com and Tom at tomsturbogarage.com. You have that now, Tom?
I don't. Sorry. It's some guy in Zimbabwe took it.
All right. Well, don't check out the guy in Zimbabwe. Go to turbomirage.com
there you go. That'll
instead.
Work.
And, keep up with our projects and... So that's going to be it for a little while. We hate to disappoint anybody, and we've definitely enjoyed communicating with everybody who sent in questions and comments and that sort of thing. So thank you for that.
Yes, thank you. Well said, Joe.
All right, Tom. Well, I guess that's it for now, and we'll be in touch, and a lot of our listeners will probably see you at the shootout.
Yeah, well,
things like that.
Yeah, definitely look forward to that. Thank you.
All right, well, that's the end of episode number 16, Tom.
All right, Joe. Sounds good. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.